The vintage mirror reflects back a stranger wearing white silk and tulle, someone far more elegant than I've ever been. For a moment, I let myself believe in fairy tales. That love transforms you into the princess version of yourself. That happily ever after isn't just a myth we tell little girls. Oh, Hallie. Madison's voice cuts through my reverie. The dress is lovely, but we really must discuss the guest list again. I resist the urge to sigh. 3 months until the wedding, and my future mother-in-law still hasn't accepted that Titus and I want something intimate. She circles me like a shark, her Louboutins clicking against the boutique's hardwood floors. The Ashworths simply must be invited. And the Caldwells, and... She pauses, perfectly manicured fingers drumming against her arm. Have you considered what I said about the venue? The country club would be so much more appropriate than that little garden space. Titus and I love the garden, I say firmly, smoothing invisible wrinkles from the bodice. It's where we had our first date. Madison's reflection shows the familiar micro-expression of distaste she always wears when I remind her that her son and I have an actual history, actual feelings that exist independent of her social calendar. My phone buzzes on the nearby chair. Probably Camilla checking in. She's been my lifeline through the wedding planning chaos. But when I glance at the screen, it's a message from an unknown number. You deserve to know the truth about your fiancé. Check his Instagram DMs with Olivia. Everything all right, dear? Madison's tone is honey-sweet, but her eyes are sharp. Fine. I lie, my heart suddenly hammering. Just work. I've never been the type to snoop through phones or social media. Trust is sacred. That's what my mom always said before cancer took her. But something about the message's urgency, its specificity. Speaking of work, Madison continues, I had lunch with Caroline yesterday. You remember her, don't you? Her daughter just made junior partner at Hamilton and Ross. Such a prestigious firm. The implication is clear. My job as a graphic designer will never measure up to Madison's standards. I'm barely listening now, fingers trembling as I open Instagram. Titus rarely uses it, preferring Twitter for his tech industry hot takes. But there they are. Dozens of messages spanning months, each one a dagger to my heart. Miss you already beautiful. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. You're all I think about. The most recent is from this morning. Soon we won't have to hide anymore. Hallie, are you listening? Madison's voice seems to come from very far away. The florist absolutely insists on peonies, but I told her you'd prefer roses, more traditional. I look up from my phone, meeting her eyes in the mirror. And suddenly, with perfect clarity, I understand. The constant criticisms, the pushing for a bigger wedding, the way she's been subtly undermining every decision Titus and I made together. She knows. She's known all along. How long? My voice is steady, surprising even me. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. But there's a flicker in her expression, gone so quickly I might have imagined it. How long has your son been sleeping with Olivia? The boutique goes silent except for distant traffic and the soft whir of air conditioning. Madison's face performs an impressive series of gymnastics before settling into concerned confusion. Darling, you're being hysterical. Titus would never... Don't. The word comes out sharp enough to make her flinch. Don't pretend. Don't lie. You've been planning their wedding all along, haven't you? I was just the placeholder until Olivia was ready to settle down. Madison's mask cracks just for a second. It's all the confirmation I need. Well, I smooth the dress one final time, admiring how the beading catches the light. Thank you for showing me exactly who you both are before I made the biggest mistake of my life. I turn away from the mirror, away from the stranger in white who believed in fairy tales. Madison reaches for my arm, but I step back, my smile sweet as arsenic. Don't worry about the deposit on the dress, I tell her. Consider it a wedding gift for the happy couple. Her mouth opens and closes, but for once she has nothing to say. I gather my things, hands steady now, mind crystallizing into perfect clarity. 3 months of planning, of compromising, of trying to be the daughter-in-law Madison wanted. All of it wasted. But as I push open the boutique door, stepping into the bright afternoon sun, I realize something that makes me smile for real. I know all their secrets now, and they have no idea what I'm capable of. I've been staring at my phone for 20 minutes, thumb hovering over Titus's contact photo. It's from our trip to Maine last summer. His dark hair, windswept, green eyes squinting against the sun. I used to think that smile held all my futures. The door chimes. Camilla slides into the booth across from me, taking in the untouched coffee and my probably mascara-streaked face. Okay, what's the emergency? Your text was scary cryptic. I wordlessly pass her my phone, open to the Instagram messages. She reads, her expression darkening with each scroll. That absolute waste of oxygen, she finally says. How long? 8 months at least, probably longer. My voice sounds hollow even to me. Madison knew. She's probably been orchestrating the whole thing. Madison's a snake. We knew this. Camilla signals the waitress for coffee. But Titus? I really thought, God, I'm so sorry, Hal. You know what's funny? I trace a water ring on the table. I keep thinking about all those nights he was working late, all those weekend conferences. I actually felt guilty for doubting him when he'd come home exhausted. Because you're not a sociopath who lies to people they claim to love. Camilla reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. Have you talked to him yet? What's there to say? Hey, honey, how was your day? By the way, I know you've been fucking Olivia behind my back while your mother plans your real wedding. The bitterness in my laugh surprises me. Actually, yes, exactly that. Make him squirm. But I shake my head. He's not even home. Another conference in Seattle. I pull up his location on Find My Friends. Except according to this, he's at the Waterfront Hotel downtown. Camilla's eyes narrow. The one with the rooftop bar where Olivia always posts those sunset selfies? My stomach lurches. I close the app, but the image is burned into my brain. That little blue dot marking the exact location of my disintegrating life. I need to get out of our apartment, I say suddenly. I can't sleep in that bed knowing you're staying with me. No arguments. Camilla's tone brooks no opposition. We'll get your stuff now while he's occupied. The drive to my soon-to-be ex-home feels surreal. Everything looks exactly the same. The coffee shop where Titus proposed, the park where we walked our neighbor's dog, the Thai place that always got our order wrong, but we kept going back anyway. How can the world be so unchanged when everything inside me is in pieces? The apartment is quiet, familiar. Photos of us mock me from every wall. Holidays, vacations, moments I thought were real. I start grabbing essentials on autopilot. Clothes, toiletries, laptop. What's this? Camilla holds up a leather-bound notebook from Titus's desk. His work journal. He's obsessive about keeping everything analog. Says it's more secure than digital. I pause, something clicking. And he never lets anyone touch it. Camilla's already flipping it open. Holy shit. I look over her shoulder. Pages of neat handwriting detail meetings, plans, transactions, and dates. Dates that match perfectly with his business trips. Names I recognize from Madison's endless social circle. And numbers, large numbers. This isn't just an affair, I breathe. He's been moving money around. Look, these transfers to offshore accounts, these consulting fees. Is this legal? Camilla asks. Not even close. My hands are shaking, but my mind is suddenly perfectly clear. He's been embezzling from his own company, using his mother's social connections to, oh my God. A key turns in the lock. Camilla shoves the journal into my bag as footsteps approach. I freeze, heart pounding, but it's not Titus. Hallie? Madison stands in the doorway, impeccable as always. I thought I might find you here. We need to discuss how to handle this situation discreetly. Her eyes flick to my half-packed bag, to Camilla, to the empty spaces where photos used to hang. Something calculating crosses her face. There are certain arrangements that could be made, she continues smoothly. to ensure everyone's comfort and privacy. The right incentives. She's trying to buy my silence, I realize. She doesn't know I have the journal, doesn't know I've seen proof of not just personal betrayal, but corporate fraud that could send her precious son to prison. You're right, I hear myself say. We should definitely discuss arrangements. Over lunch, perhaps? Tomorrow? Madison's relief is palpable. Wonderful. The club at noon? I smile, sweet as the day she helped me try on wedding dresses. I'm looking forward to it. Only when she's gone does Camilla exhale. Please tell me you're not actually considering letting them buy you off. I zip my bag, feeling the weight of the journal inside. Oh, I'm going to lunch tomorrow, but Madison's about to learn that some things can't be fixed with her checkbook. The country club dining room reeks of old money and judgment. Madison sits across from me, perfectly composed in Chanel, stirring her martini like she's conducting a tiny orchestra. I'm wearing the silk blazer she gave me last Christmas, playing the role of the grateful almost daughter one last time. Darling, I know you're hurt, she says. But these things happen. Marriage is about being practical. I take a sip of water, letting the ice clink against my teeth. Practical like offshore accounts and fake consulting fees? The olive in her martini stops mid-orbit. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. I think you do. I pull out my phone, showing her a photo of one particularly damning page from Titus's journal. Your son's not just a cheater, Madison. He's a thief, and you've been helping him. Her face doesn't change, but her knuckles go white around the stem of her glass. Those are complex business matters you couldn't possibly understand. Try me. I may just be a graphic designer, but I can count. $7 million doesn't just disappear into consulting fees without someone noticing eventually. A shadow falls across our table. Ladies, everything satisfactory? I look up to find Austin, the club's manager, watching us with careful interest. I've always liked Austin. He has kind eyes and never treated me like I was beneath him, unlike most of Madison's circle. Wonderful as always, Madison says smoothly, but there's a tremor in her voice. Austin lingers a moment too long, his gaze meeting mine with something that might be understanding. Once he's gone, Madison leans forward. Name your price, she whispers. Whatever you think is fair compensation for your emotional distress. I laugh, the sound sharp enough to turn heads at nearby tables. You really think this is about money? Then what do you want? I want my last year back. I want to unknow what it feels like to love someone who could look me in the eyes every day while betraying me. I want... My voice cracks, and I hate myself for showing weakness. Madison's expression softens fractionally. Hallie, please. Titus made mistakes, but he's still my son. I can't let you destroy him. You did that yourself, I say quietly. When you taught him he could take whatever he wanted without consequences. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Meet me at the service entrance in 10 minutes. Bring the journal. Austin. I need the restroom, I tell Madison, standing. Don't worry, I'm not done discussing those arrangements. The service corridor is all exposed pipes and fluorescent lights, a stark contrast to the dining room's carefully curated luxury. Austin is waiting, looking nervous. I've been gathering evidence for months, he says without preamble. The money laundering, the fake companies, all of it. But I needed proof of the paper trail. I stare at him. You're what? Some kind of undercover investigator? Former forensic accountant. I took this job when things started looking suspicious. He runs a hand through his hair. The journal would complete the case, but it has to be obtained legally. Understanding dawns. You need me to turn it over voluntarily. You'd be protected as a whistleblower. But I won't lie. It could get messy. These people have resources, connections. I think about Madison's perfectly orchestrated life, how she's probably already planning damage control. About Titus's easy smile as he promised to love me forever while building a life with someone else. If I help you, I say slowly, what happens to them? Best case? Significant fines, probably prison time for the main players. Worst case, they have enough friends in high places to get a slap on the wrist. And Olivia? Was she involved? Austin shakes his head. Just a convenient distraction as far as we can tell. Keep the fiancé focused on personal drama instead of business dealings. Something cold settles in my chest. They didn't just betray me. They used my pain as a smokescreen. Every tear I cried over their affair was calculated, strategic. The journal's at my friend's apartment, I tell Austin. I can bring it tomorrow. You're sure? Once this starts? I'm sure. I straighten my blazer, channel some of Madison's steel. But I want to be involved. Not just handing over evidence, I want to help take them down. Austin studies me for a long moment. It's not exactly protocol. Neither is running a corporate fraud investigation through a country club. I know things about this family that aren't in any journal, and I've got nothing left to lose. He nods slowly. Okay, but we do this carefully. By the book. I think about Madison waiting in the dining room, probably already calling her lawyers, about Titus and his perfect smile and his careful lies. Don't worry, I say. I'm done being careful. You're doing what? Camilla nearly drops her wine glass. We're huddled on her balcony, the city lights blinking below like earthbound stars. Hal, these people have serious connections. They could destroy you. They already tried. I scroll through the photos I've taken of Titus's journal. Besides, I'm not doing it alone. Austin has a whole team watching them. The hot manager from the club? She frowns. How do you know you can trust him? It's a fair question. Trust feels like a foreign concept lately, something that belongs to the person I was before everything shattered. I don't, I admit. But I've verified some things. The companies in Titus's journal. They're real shell corporations. The transfers match exactly with his business trips. It's all true. My phone lights up with a text from Austin. Meeting tomorrow. Bring everything you have. Camilla sets down her wine. Okay, reality check time. What happens if this goes wrong? If Madison's lawyer friends bury the investigation, you'll have painted a target on your back for nothing. It won't be for nothing. I stand, pacing the small balcony. Even if they escape consequences, everyone will know what they really are. No more perfect family facade. No more using people like they're disposable. This isn't just about the money laundering anymore, is it? I stop pacing, gripping the railing until my knuckles whiten. You didn't see Madison's face when she offered to buy my silence. Like everything has a price. Like I should be grateful they're willing to pay me off for destroying my life. Hal, Camilla's voice goes gentle. Have you talked to Titus at all? He's called 17 times. Left voicemails about how we can work through this and move past it. My laugh sounds bitter even to me. Guess he figured out I have the journal. A notification pops up. An email from Fiona, a junior partner at Titus's company. My heart stops when I open it. Oh, God. Camilla moves to read over my shoulder. The email is short but devastating. I know what you're planning. We need to talk. Meet me tomorrow morning at Riverside Coffee. Come alone. Could be a trap, Camilla says. Or she knows something we don't. I forward the email to Austin, then delete it. Either way, I have to go. Not alone, you don't. If she's willing to talk, I can't risk scaring her off. I turn to face my best friend. But I need you to do something else for me. Something important. The next morning, Riverside Coffee is nearly empty. Fiona sits in a corner booth, impeccable in a charcoal suit that probably costs more than my monthly rent. Her expression is unreadable as I slide in across from her. You're making a mistake, she says without preamble. Which part? Exposing fraud or refusing to let them buy my silence? You think you know what you're dealing with, but you don't. She glances around before continuing quietly. 3 years ago, another employee found discrepancies in the books. He went to the board. 2 days later, his wife was fired from her teaching job over anonymous accusations. Their mortgage application was mysteriously denied. Their kids lost their college scholarships. Ice slides down my spine. What happened to him? retracted everything, said it was a misunderstanding. Now he manages a small branch office in Idaho. Fiona's eyes meet mine. Madison doesn't just have lawyer friends. She has judges, bank executives, university boards, people who owe her favors. Why are you telling me this? Because I like you. And because... She hesitates. Because I've been gathering my own evidence. Carefully. For years. Building a case they can't bury. Hope flares in my chest. Will you help us? Us? There's already an investigation. Real investigators, not just company internal review. Fiona sits back, something calculating crossing her face. If I help, I need guarantees. Protection. For me and my family. I'll talk to Austin. We can... Not here. She stands abruptly. Tonight, the parking garage at Harrison Street, level 3, 9 o'clock. Bring your evidence, I'll bring mine. After she's gone, I text Camilla. Did you do it? Her response comes quickly. Package delivered to every board member's home address. Anonymous tip about reviewing tomorrow's financial news carefully. I smile, thinking of the copies of Titus's journal pages currently landing in very interested hands. Madison may have powerful friends, but even they can't stop every leak at once. My phone buzzes again. Austin. Got your email about Fiona. Do not meet her alone. This isn't a request, but I'm already planning how to ditch whatever tale he puts on me. Because if Fiona's telling the truth about what these people are capable of, I need all the ammunition I can get. The Harrison Street parking garage looms like a concrete monster in the dark. My footsteps echo as I climb to level 3, each sound making me jump. Austin's going to kill me for coming alone, but something in Fiona's eyes told me this was too important for caution. A car's headlights suddenly blind me. I throw up a hand, heart pounding. Get in. Titus's voice coming from the driver's seat. Now. My stomach drops. Where's Fiona? Safe. Which is more than I can say for you if you don't get in the car. I back away. You're not exactly building trust here. Trust? He laughs, harsh and unfamiliar. You're the one who stole from me, who's trying to destroy everything my family built. Everything you stole, you mean? He steps out of the car, and I realize with horror that I've never seen him like this. Face twisted with something darker than anger. You have no idea what you're messing with, Hallie. The journal, the board members, the investigation, you're in so far over your head. How did you know about... I stop, realization hitting like a punch. Fiona, she's working for you. Everyone works for someone. He takes a step closer. The question is, who are you working for? Austin? The SEC? Or are you just so desperate for revenge you don't care who gets hurt? That's rich, coming from you. I loved you, he says, and the worst part is he probably believes it. I was going to take care of you, keep you safe from all this, but you couldn't just let it go. My back hits a concrete pillar. By all this, do you mean your fraud or your affair? Olivia was a mistake, a distraction. But this? He gestures vaguely at the darkness around us. This is my legacy, my future. I won't let you destroy it. Your future? I laugh, reckless with fear and fury. Your future is a prison cell once the FBI sees what's in that journal. His face goes still. Where is it? Somewhere you'll never find it. He moves faster than I expect, hand slamming into the pillar beside my head. I flinch but refuse to look away from his eyes. Eyes I once thought held my whole world. Last chance, he says softly. Tell me where it is, sign some papers saying you made a mistake, and this all goes away. You get a generous settlement, a fresh start somewhere else. Or what? You'll destroy my life? My voice shakes but doesn't break. You already did that. The difference is now everyone's going to know exactly who you are. A car engine roars in the distance. Titus steps back, straightening his jacket. You know what the funny thing is? He sounds almost sad. I really did want to marry you. You were uncomplicated, pure. I thought you'd make me better. I'm not here to make you better. Headlights sweep across us as a familiar SUV screeches around the corner. I'm here to make you pay. Austin jumps out, gun drawn. Federal agent, hands where I can see them. Titus's eyes go wide with genuine shock. Then he runs. Are you okay? Austin keeps his gun trained on Titus's retreating form as other agents emerge from the SUV. I told you not to come alone. I'm fine. I'm shaking, but anger burns hotter than fear. Did you get what you needed? He holds up a small recording device. Every word, including the threat and attempted intimidation of a federal witness. I watch as agents disappear after Titus. Will you catch him? Eventually, but he's not our main target. Austin holsters his weapon. Your wire picked up something interesting at lunch with Madison yesterday. Names we've been trying to connect to this operation for months. So it's bigger than just their family? Much bigger. And now, thanks to you, we have proof. He studies me carefully. But after tonight, you need to understand, there's no going back. These people play for keeps. I think about Titus's face in the darkness, that stranger wearing my fiancé's skin. About Madison's carefully orchestrated world of favors and threats. About how close I came to joining their family, to becoming just like them. Good, I say. Because so do I. My phone buzzes. A text from Camilla. You need to see this. Turn on the news now. Austin's phone chimes at the same moment. His expression turns grave as he reads whatever message he's received. What is it? I ask. Madison's dead. He looks up, face grim. They're calling it suicide, but... The garage suddenly feels colder, darker, because I know with bone-deep certainty that this is just the beginning. The news plays on repeat in Camilla's living room. Madison's body found in her study, an empty pill bottle beside her. No sign of struggle, no note. Just the perfect stillness of her perfect house, disrupted by death. It wasn't suicide. I tell Austin for the 10th time. He's perched on Camilla's armchair while agents sweep my old apartment for evidence. Madison would never leave without controlling the narrative. I agree. He rubs his temples. But proving it is another matter. The medical examiner's preliminary report shows nothing suspicious. Let me guess. The examiner is a family friend? Camilla's voice drips sarcasm, along with the responding officers and the DA. Austin sighs. This is exactly how they operate. Clean, quiet, impossible to prove. My phone lights up, Olivia's name on the screen. I almost decline, but something stops me. Hello? Don't hang up. Her voice is raw, frightened. I need to talk to you. In person. Please. I meet Austin's eyes. He nods slowly. Where? The Botanical Gardens. 1 hour. Come alone. Because that worked so well last time, Camilla mutters. But an hour later, I'm walking through humid greenhouse air, agents concealed nearby. Olivia sits by the orchids, mascara smeared beneath red-rimmed eyes. I didn't know, she says when I approach. About any of it. The money, the threats, Madison. I thought I was special. That he loved me. Join the club. I don't sit. Why am I here? Because I found something in Titus's desk after he ran. Something Madison gave him for safekeeping. She pulls out a USB drive. Everything's on here. Accounts, contacts, blackmail material. She was insurance shopping before she died. If she was planning to expose them, why, she wasn't. Olivia's laugh is bitter. She was protecting herself from Titus. She found out he was planning to frame her, make her take the fall when it all came down. That's why she's dead. I finish. He killed his own mother. I can't prove it, but the night she died, he came home with scratches on his hands. Said it was from helping his mother clean up some old files. She holds out the drive. Take it. I don't want any part of this anymore. Before I can respond, footsteps approach. We both turn to see Fiona emerging from behind a massive fern. Hello, ladies. Her smile is razor sharp. Having a nice chat? Olivia goes pale. You said you wouldn't... I say lots of things. Fiona's hand emerges from her jacket, holding a small revolver. The drive, please. My mind races. The agents are watching, but they're under orders not to reveal themselves unless my life is in immediate danger. One wrong move and we lose everything. You're working for Titus, I say, playing for time. But he's gone. Who are you really protecting? You think Titus is the mastermind? She laughs. He's a spoiled child playing with daddy's money. The real power was always Madison's. Her connections, her network. Was? Is. Fiona's smile widens. Death is just a transition of power. And now that network belongs to me. Understanding hits like lightning. You killed her. Madison taught me everything, except when to step aside for the next generation. The drive now, before this gets messy. I reach for the USB, but Olivia moves faster. She hurls it at Fiona's face and runs. The gun swings toward her. I don't think. I move. The gunshot is deafening in the enclosed space. Pain blazes across my arm as I tackle Fiona. We crash into a display of orchids, pottery shattering around us. Agents swarm in, shouting commands. Fiona thrashes beneath me, snarling something about lawyers. I roll away, clutching my bleeding arm. Jesus, Hal. Austin helps me up. That was either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Can't it be both? My voice shakes with adrenaline and pain. Olivia reappears as medics bandage my arm. She's holding the USB drive, miraculously intact. I'm sorry, she whispers. For everything. I never meant... I know. And surprisingly, I do. We were both just pawns in someone else's game. The drive confirms it, Austin says later, after statements and bandages and endless cups of shock sweet tea. Fiona was laundering money through Madison's network for years. When Titus discovered it, they made a deal. He kept quiet. She helped him steal from his own company. And Madison found out. And paid for it. He hesitates. But we still don't have Titus. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Just an address and 2 words that make my blood run cold. Found me. Actually, I tell Austin, showing him the screen, I think we do. The address leads to Madison's lake house, a modernist glass and steel monument to wealth where we spent last Christmas, where Titus first told me he loved me, where everything was still simple. We'll surround the property, Austin says, checking his weapon. Wait for my signal before... He'll see you coming. I stare through the car window at the illuminated house. He knows every security camera, every approach. That's why he chose here. We're not sending you in alone, not again. You don't have to. I touch the bandage on my arm, still throbbing. Because he's already watching, aren't you? My phone rings on cue. Titus's contact photo lights up the screen. That day in Maine when I thought his smile held truth. Very good, he says when I answer. Always cleverer than anyone gave you credit for, including me. It's over, Titus. Fiona confessed everything. Did she? Interesting. He sounds almost amused. Then you know this was never about money. Not really. Come out, face what you've done. Why don't you come in instead? For old time's sake. Just you, or I start sending evidence of federal agents' families accepting bribes. Amazing what Madison kept records of. Austin shakes his head violently, but I'm already opening the car door. 10 minutes, I tell him. Then do what you have to do. The lake house door is unlocked. Inside, everything is exactly as I remember. Modern art Madison chose, furniture no one ever really sat on, photos of the perfect family they pretended to be. Titus waits in the great room, silhouetted against floor-to-ceiling windows that reflect the night. He's changed clothes since the garage, but his eyes are the same. Cold, unknowable. You're bleeding, he notes, gesturing to my arm. Your girlfriend shot me. Fiona was never my girlfriend, just another piece on the board. He pours 2 glasses of whiskey, Madison's favorite. Like you were supposed to be. Until I stopped playing my role, until you showed real potential. He offers me a glass. I don't take it. You're more like her than you know. Madison saw it too at the end. That's why she had to go. Ice slides down my spine. You killed your own mother. She was going to destroy everything. Turn on her own son to save herself. His laugh is hollow. But she taught me too well. About power, about survival. Is that what this is? Survival? This is evolution. He sets both glasses down, steps closer. We could still have everything, Hallie. Together. No more lies, no more pretending. Just pure ambition. For a moment, one terrible, treacherous moment, I let myself imagine it. The power, the freedom from conscience, the simple clarity of taking what you want. Then I think of Madison's empty pill bottle, of Olivia's tears, of every person these people crushed because they could. You're right about one thing, I say softly. No more pretending. I reach for the whiskey glass, but instead of drinking, I throw it in his face. He staggers back, cursing. My hand finds the USB drive in my pocket, the one he doesn't know we already copied. Looking for this? I hold it up. Everything Madison had on everyone? The whole network? He lunges for it. I dodge, letting him slam into the window behind me. Spiderweb cracks appear in the glass. It's over, I tell him as he rights himself. The FBI has everything. Fiona's talking. Your mother's network is burned. You're lying. But there's fear in his eyes now. They can't prove. Check your phone. He does. His face goes ashen as headlines flood in. Arrests across the city, prominent names in handcuffs, Madison's carefully built house of cards collapsing in real time. You did this, he whispers. You destroyed my family. No. I meet his eyes steadily. You did that yourself. He moves with sudden violence, hands reaching for my throat. But I'm ready. I step aside, letting his momentum carry him forward, through the already weakened window. He catches himself on the frame, hanging over the lake 30 feet below. Our eyes meet one last time. I did love you, he says, in my way. I know. That's the tragedy. Then Austin and his team burst in, securing Titus before he can fall. As they read him his rights, I walk outside to the deck where we once watched sunrise together. The lake reflects stars like scattered diamonds. Somewhere an owl calls, reminding me that nature carries on, indifferent to human drama. My phone buzzes. Camilla checking in. But for now, I just breathe in the night air, feeling the weight of the past year finally begin to lift. It's not a fairy tale ending, but maybe those were never real anyway. The courtroom empties slowly, murmurs and footsteps echoing off marble walls. I stay seated, watching Titus being led away in handcuffs. He doesn't look back. 15 years, Camilla whispers beside me. Plus restitution. That's something, right? I nod, but my eyes are on the woman slipping out a side door. Olivia, wearing the same Chanel suit she wore to what would have been my wedding. Our gazes meet briefly. She mouths, "Thank you," before disappearing. You okay? Camilla squeezes my hand. I think I actually am. I stand, smoothing my skirt. Ready for that drink? But as we reach the courthouse steps, Austin calls my name. There's something you should see. He holds out a leather-bound notebook, identical to the one that started everything. Found it in Madison's safety deposit box during the asset seizure. My heart stutters. Another journal? Her personal diary. Most of it's evidence, but he flips to a marked page. This entry's about you. The handwriting is Madison's perfect cursive. Hallie reminds me so much of myself at her age. That same fire, that refusal to accept the world as it is. I thought I could mold her, teach her to channel that fire into power like I did. Instead, she showed me what I'd become, what I'd turned my son into. Perhaps this ending is justice, after all. The toxicology report came back. Austin says quietly. It was suicide. She chose her ending. I closed the journal, holding back unexpected tears. She could have stopped it all. could have helped us? Some people can't face what they've built, or what it costs to tear it down. He takes the journal back. Speaking of building things, how's the new firm? I smile, thinking of the graphic design studio I opened with the whistleblower reward money. Growing. Turns out having helped bust major financial conspiracy on your resume opens interesting doors. And the other thing we discussed? Still thinking about it. Camilla looks between us. What other thing? The FBI is expanding their forensic accounting division, I explain. They want consultants who understand how these schemes work from the inside. You're kidding. She stares at me. You'd actually work for them? Maybe. It turns out I'm pretty good at seeing through people's lies. I start down the courthouse steps. But first, I need that drink. The bar is quiet this early. As we settle into a booth, my phone lights up with a text from an unknown number. My pulse quickens until I read it. Getting married next month. Small ceremony, nothing fancy. Would mean a lot if you came. Oh, Olivia's getting married? Camilla reads over my shoulder. To who? Does it matter? I type a quick response. Be happy. That's all any of us can do. You're really not angry anymore? Camilla asks. At any of them? I consider this, stirring my martini, not Madison's brand. Anger keeps you looking backward. I'm ready to look forward. To what? To building something real. Something that helps people instead of hurting them. I raise my glass. To justice and to knowing the difference between power and strength. Deep. Camilla teases, but she clinks her glass against mine. My phone buzzes again. Austin sending the official job offer. The salary is impressive, but that's not what catches my eye. It's the project description. Developing new methods to identify and prevent financial exploitation through relationship manipulation. Take it, Camilla says, reading my expression. You've earned the right to turn this whole mess into something good. I think about Madison's last words in her journal. About Titus's face when he realized he'd lost everything. About Olivia finding her own path to happiness. You know what the strangest part is? I say, opening the email. I actually have to thank them. All of them. Because they showed me exactly who I didn't want to become. And who's that? I hit accept on the job offer, feeling the future unlock before me like a door I finally have the right key for. Someone who mistakes power for love, I tell her, or fear for respect. Outside, the city hums with life and possibility. Inside, I raise my glass one more time. Not to the past or its ghosts, but to the woman I've become. The one who learned that true power isn't in what you can take from others, but in what you choose to build instead.